Hey everyone, and welcome back to episode 2 of the ESP32 Deep Dive series right here on the IoT Journal channel. Today's explainer is, well, it's honestly incredibly exciting, because we're tackling one of the absolute most rewarding projects you can do with a microcontroller. We're going to build a completely live, self-hosted weather station using an ESP32 and a DHT22 sensor. So, if you've ever wanted to monitor the environment in, say, your home, a server room, or even a greenhouse directly from your web browser, you are in exactly the right place. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap so you know exactly what we're building and learning today. First up, an intro to the live weather station concept. Then, components and wiring, followed by a line-by-line code walkthrough. After that, we'll do a practical test, fix some common troubleshooting issues, and wrap it all up with a summary and next steps.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Intro, Live Weather Station.
Now, I want to quickly show how this builds perfectly on our previous work. If you recall, in episode 1 of this series, we actually learned how to send commands to the ESP32 to, control an LED over a web server. But today, we're flipping the script. The data is flowing in the exact opposite direction. So instead of us telling the ESP32 what to do, the ESP32 is going to gather real-world temperature and humidity data from a digital sensor, and it's going to send that data directly to us. It'll display all of this on a self-hosted web page that actually refreshes all by itself. Honestly, this is the second essential pattern in ESP32 programming, and getting the hang of this, it literally unlocks a whole new level of projects.
Okay, let's get our hands dirty. Section 2, Components and Wiring, the hardware setup.
So for this project, you're going to need an ESP32 board, a breadboard, some jumper wires, and of course, a DHT22 sensor. Now, if you only have a DHT11 laying around, that is a perfectly fine, slightly cheaper alternative, so no worries there. Oh, and depending on your specific sensor module, you might also need a pull-up resistor. Now, looking at the wiring, it's super straightforward, but I really need you to pay close attention here. We connect the ESP32's ground to the sensor's ground, and we connect GPIO4 to the sensor's data pin. Simple enough, right? But here is the absolutely crucial point about power. You must connect the sensor's VCC pin to the ESP33 volt pin. Do not, under any circumstances, connect it to 5 volts. Sending 5 volts will easily fry your 3.3 volt ESP32 board. So yeah, definitely double check that connection before plugging anything in. All right, once your hardware is all wired up, we need to prep our software environment. To make our code work, we rely on these prepackaged sets of instructions called libraries. To grab them, just open up your Arduino IDE library manager. You're going to search for and install 2 very specific packages. First, the DHT sensor library. That one's created by Adafruit. And second, its required dependency, which is called the Adafruit Unified Sensor Library. Without these, our poor ESP32 literally won't know how to translate the raw electrical signals from the sensor into, actual human-readable numbers.
Moving right along to Section 3, Code Walkthrough, Line-by-Line Details. Now, what's really interesting here is just how much power is packed into one single line of code. Near the very top of our script, right after we tell the program to include those Adafruit libraries we just grabbed, we write this: DHT space DHT open parenthesis 4, DHT22, close parenthesis. Basically, this defines our library instance. It's like telling the ESP32, hey, you've got a sensor attached to GPIO pin 4. And by the way, it's specifically the DHT22 model. And hey, if you decided to use that cheaper DH11 sensor we talked about, this is the exact spot where you just swap out that number 22 for an 11.
Okay, moving down into the setup function. Remember, this part runs just once when the ESP32 first powers on. This is our initialization phase, so right alongside setting up our Wi-Fi connection, we issue this command, dht.begin. This essentially wakes up the sensor and establishes our communication channel. The ESP32 boots up the sensor right before it connects to your local Wi-Fi network. That way we ensure everything is primed, warmed up, and completely ready to go before anyone even tries to ask for the data. Next up, we enter the loop function. This is basically the beating heart of our program that runs constantly in the background, just over and over again. Inside this loop, our ESP32 is acting like a web server, politely listening for web clients. It's literally just sitting there waiting for a web browser, like Chrome on your laptop or Safari on your phone, to connect and send an HTTP request asking for the web page.
And when that request finally comes in, that is when these 2 brilliant little lines of code execute: DHT.readTemperature and DHT.readHumidity. Guys, these are the magic moments of this entire explainer. This is where the ESP32 reaches out over that GPIO4 pin, pulls the physical room data directly from the sensor in real time, and stores those exact values as variables right in its memory.
But well, as anyone who has ever worked with physical hardware knows, sensors can and absolutely will occasionally glitch out. And that's exactly why we immediately follow those readings with this clever little function, isNan. That stands for is not a number. It's a built-in error checking function. We use it to verify if the sensor actually returned a valid reading, because if the reading failed, it'll return not a number, and we can just tell our code to print a nice little error message instead of, trying to display completely broken data. Error checking like this, it is absolutely crucial in IoT projects. It literally prevents your entire web server from crashing just because of one bad sensor read. Finally, we build the actual HTML response that gets sent back to your web browser. We embed our valid temperature and humidity variables directly into the web page code. And this brilliantly illustrates a super fun web trick. We include this specific HTML meta tag. By placing this meta refresh tag right in the header of our web page, we are literally forcing the viewer's web browser to automatically refresh and request brand new data from the ESP32 every 5 seconds. You don't even have to sit there hitting the refresh button manually. The page just dynamically updates the weather data all on its own. It's so cool.
All right, on to the really fun part. Section 4, practical test and viewing live data.
So, when you plug in your ESP32 and upload the code, the very first thing you'll do is open your Arduino serial monitor. In there, the ESP32 will print out the local IP address that your router just assigned to it. You literally just type that IP address into any web browser on your network, and boom, the web page loads up, displaying your live temperature. Let's say it's sitting at 72.5 degrees, and the current humidity. And exactly as we programmed it, if you just sit back and watch the screen, you will see those numbers automatically update every 5 seconds as the room environment subtly changes. I gotta tell you, it is incredibly satisfying to see it work in real life.
Now, let's talk about Section 5, Troubleshooting, Fixing Common Issues.
Look, if things aren't working perfectly right out of the gate, seriously, don't panic. Bugs happen to all of us. Here are the 3 most common issues you might run into. First, if your browser or serial monitor is just showing NaN, again, not a number, or it's saying the reading failed, go back and double-check your wiring. Also, make sure you define the correct DHT type in your code, like we discussed earlier. Second issue, if your reading seems super slow or inconsistent, you honestly just might need to wait a second. This isn't actually a software bug, it's a hardware limitation. The DHT22 sensor can physically only be read once every 2 seconds. If your code tries to pull data faster than that, it's just going to fail. And finally, if your page isn't auto-refreshing like it should, double-check your HTML syntax on that meta refresh tag. Make sure there are no missing quotation marks or little brackets throwing the whole thing off.
All right, let's bring it all home. Section 6, Summary and Next Steps. Building on the basics. By finishing this project today, you've officially hit a major milestone. You've successfully mastered reading digital sensor data, and you've mastered self-hosting that dynamic data on a web server. I honestly cannot overstate how important this is. This specific sensor reading and display pattern, it's the critical foundation for so much of what we're going to do next. We are literally going to use these exact same concepts to build much more advanced systems in this series, things like a wireless data logger, and eventually, a fully automated smart irrigation system.
Now, I know that was a lot of code, but don't worry, you don't have to manually type it all out from scratch. I highly recommend heading over to iotjournal.net, where we have the full, detailed, written tutorial for this project published. You can easily grab the complete, copyable code right there, tweak it for your specific Wi-Fi network, and literally have your own weather station up and running in minutes. So, you've mastered sending commands, and today you've mastered receiving continuous data. But what happens when that incoming data isn't just a harmless room temperature update, but a triggered real-time security alert? In our next explainer, we are going to build a door and window alarm system, complete with live notifications. It's going to be awesome, and you definitely won't want to miss it. Until then, happy building!
Welcome to iotjournal.net, your ultimate hub for practical ESP32 and IoT engineering. Here, every single project comes with crystal clear schematics, step-by-step build guides, and fully updated source code, continuously refreshed with the latest library versions, so your builds work without any errors.